This is the Churchill townsite. There's the Seaport Hotel. And you can see here, because of the permafrost that exists here, just like in Alaska, they gate up their fire hydrants just in case. This is the main town square here in Churchill. So you can see there's a visitor information booth right there, an information sign, some sort of memorial over there, and the sculpture. This is right on the main drag here on Kelsey Boulevard. And the train station is directly opposite me down that road. So this town is very small. If I go about 2 blocks in the other direction, behind this building, you're at Hudson Bay, and that's that. That's Churchill. Very tiny place. And the big northern store right here, just like I had when I lived up in the north in Nunavut. Prices up in the north tend to be very high, of course, because everything has to be flown in. I don't find it as high as Nunavut by any stretch. I mean, you know, a bag of chips or crackers for $5.99, Ritz crackers $5.99. I mean, these are prices you'd basically be paying at a convenience store, right? So 7-Eleven or whatever. You can see the heavier the object, the more it's going to cost. So sugar $11.99. Where you will get hit a ton is on produce here. So lettuce $6. Some of the prices over here are ridiculous, like $30 a kilogram for cherries. Bag of apples $8. You get the picture. Diet Pepsi $4.29 a bottle. Pretty much double what you'd pay in Winnipeg, but not anywhere near like quadruple or quintuple. Here's the Inukshuk statue. This is a ancient symbol of the Inuit. So these stone figures would be built to mark the path home. So they would build them as they were traveling on the land and follow that same path to find their way home in the end. And once again, this is the port of Churchill, one of Canada's major seaports. So you wouldn't expect to find it in the center of the country on the Hudson Bay, but this is a very important piece of infrastructure, especially for the prairie provinces, which rely on it to ship their grain overseas to Europe and Asia. Looks like one of the local churches here, I believe it's the Anglican church, is being renovated as we speak. So I'm just heading down to the town complex, which is that massive building right ahead of me. Yeah, they're definitely tracking a polar bear today somewhere. Here's another one of the quaint little local churches. And you can see the building on the right there is quite colorful, and it's adorned with an Inukshuk on the very front, which again is that symbol that leads the Inuit people back to their home. This is the local school. Looks like it's a bit worse for wear. Probably needs to be upgraded soon. I mean, the small things like the rusted out basketball hoops. So this is the Churchill Town Complex, which is pretty much home to every public service you can imagine in this city. 220,000 square foot building. And over here is the local post office and a branch of Royal Bank of Canada. This is the beautiful Catholic Church in Churchill, Manitoba. So there's some massive bear-proof garbage and recycling containers here just next to the town complex. Signs like these don't necessarily leave you feeling confident that you should be anywhere near here. This is prime ground for polar bears right around here along the water. But literally any second a bear could creep out from around the corner and maul me to death. It's happened before, so gotta take it seriously around here. It's not your average town. Here's that old boat right on the Hudson Bay shore. It looks like there's a little ramp you can actually climb up. All right, on the top of the ship. Don't see any polar bears on the rocks, so that's a good sign. They're far from town at this point. Really unique building here called the Caribou Hall. You can see the totem pole there on the right side. So this is a traditional Inuit kamatik, which is a sled that's pulled behind a snowmobile, usually. Really cool to see one of those here. Although slightly ambitious for this latitude. You can see they have a community garden here in Churchill, which seems to be doing okay, actually. I'm not sure what the growing requirements are here, but it does get pretty chilly at night. All right, back at the visitor center slash train station. Definitely put a lot of effort into designing this place. All right, I'm off to the Seaport Hotel. I heard the servings are very large and it's not bad, so I tried the Tundra Inn yesterday. That was pretty good. So I'll try this one just because of the proximity to the hotel as well. It's pretty close. Trying the Belgian wheat beer from Farmery Brewery. We'll see which Weissenberger was better, the Tundra or the Seaport. It's quite expensive to live though, yeah?
Oh yeah, everything is quite expensive, yeah.
We're coming up to the Miss Piggy plane crash. Right, so this plane crash went down in 1977. Miss Piggy, 3 people were on board. Everybody survived the crash. That wing is just messed up, wow. We're heading up to check out the inside of the plane. Very cool. This is really cool, Shield territory. Canadian Shield. The engine just spilled right out here. That is so interesting. Crazy. We're heading inside the airplane.
Careful.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a cargo plane, so tons of room. No seats on board.
So I mean, you are outside, okay?
Sure, yeah, thank you. Wow, really cool to be inside. Gonna head into the cockpit. It is a bit precarious though, dangling wires and all the levers and everything else here. Fiberglass hanging out. That's crazy. This has been around that long. Pretty cool though. A lot of this damages the elements too. You can see it's paint's peeling and everything else. There's the wing and Hudson Bay in the distance. Really cool. I thought it would be much more destroyed than this, but it's basically an intact airplane. I'm walking on the wing to get out of here. That is incredible though. Miss Piggy. One of the top sites here in Churchill for sure. The Iceberg Inn is very generous to offer to take me down here at no cost on the way to the airport, so very cool, very generous staff there. Back down to the van and heading to the airport to leave Churchill. This building is the Polar Bear Jail. So you can see Polar Bear Holding Facility. This is where all the polar bears that find their way into town are basically rounded up and held here before being returned to the wild. So very unique. This is literally the only polar bear jail that you'll find in the world. These are polar bear traps that are set to catch the polar bears before bringing them to the Polar Bear Holding Facility. Those buckets on the very bottom are to collect the poop of the polar bear. All right, I made it to the Churchill Airport to check in for my 2 p.m. flight back to Winnipeg. All right, this is Churchill's very tiny airport. The airplane has just landed in Churchill. Should be boarding in about 30 minutes or so. That's quite the rig they have going on here. All right, leaving Churchill behind and getting on the plane to Winnipeg. Just landed back at Winnipeg Airport. Very successful trip to Churchill. Saw tons of wildlife, so that was very well worth the long drive up to Thompson and then the train journey to get there. But glad to be back in civilization now. Back over here at the Fairfield Inn by Marriott, Winnipeg. Just gonna go check in for the night. All right, quite the commotion outside. Looks like someone probably pulled the fire alarm. There's nothing going on here. All right, firefighters are going inside. Oh yeah, he's just resetting the thing. I think we're as safe as can be. Not necessarily what you expect to happen at 10 o'clock in the evening.